If your team are spending 10 hours a week writing email copy for your brand, but the tone of voice is still missing, even in your best campaigns, then this is the fix. Today, we're going to break down a strategy that we use at Surefire Media for our clients to help us to scale the content that we're producing without sacrificing quality. This is very, very simple, but also very underused still, even today, after ChatGPT has been around for so long. This involves building a custom copywriting bot within ChatGPT that understands your brand and performs like your best copywriter year-round. So I'm going to show you on screen how we do this and how we build it step by step. Let's go. So the whole point of doing this is because if your copywriting is scattered, then your conversion rate is also going to suffer. So what do I mean by that? Well, customers are subconsciously judging your brand the same way that you subconsciously judge a person when you first meet them. In fact, a study from Princeton found that people form their first impressions within 100 milliseconds. So as you can imagine, if you've got sloppy copywriting or it doesn't quite match what you previously sent in another email, or your welcome flow was done a year ago and it's outdated to the new tone of voice that you've adopted now in your campaigns, then all of this is going to become disjointed and it's just not going to perform very well. This can also be a problem if you've got a growing team, because then translating your message across so many different team members, it gets difficult and everybody has their own kind of interpretation of it. Whereas when you're all operating from the same centralized source, then you can make sure that everything's aligned with the values that you want. Now, again, we don't want to sacrifice creativity here, and we're going to get into that later, but just to make it clear that the whole point of this is to build trust with your customers through consistency. Because when you train that bot properly, it becomes the internal standard for tone, structure, positioning, and it doesn't matter who's producing that piece of copy because they have that foundation to rely on with the bot. One last piece of context for you. According to Mckinsey, brands that maintain consistent messaging across channels see 23% more revenue on average. So there you go. This matters, where you have to keep things consistent and level across all the different mediums that you've got: social media, product descriptions on your website, emails, anything else. Okay, so we're inside my computer now, and the first thing that I'm going to let you know about is that we've got a SOP on how to do this. So I've got a document that if you sign up to my email list in the description, then you can get this for free. So click sign up in the bottom and you'll get this SOP that you can follow. We're going to get started with it now. So I'm inside my computer and I'm inside of ChatGPT here. So what we can see at the minute is obviously just my company ChatGPT. So we've got one where we've got all of our users are in there. So it's like a company account where every person has their own individual ChatGPT account. Inside of the SOP, the first thing that you'll see, in fact, I'll bring it over here. So this is the SOP. So inside of here, we've got the first prompt. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this prompt and we're going to put it into ChatGPT. Okay, so I've pasted it into ChatGPT. As you can see, I've just literally copy and pasted that prompt, and now it's asking me for the full brand questionnaire. So if we go back to this SOP, then you'll see that step 2 is the brand questionnaire, and we've got a template here for you to download. So when you get that document, when you sign up to the email list, you also get access to that document that you can then fill in that brand questionnaire. So this is going to take you a while. It might take you 30 minutes, an hour to fill it out. You want to put as much detail as you possibly can here. And what I've found from working with so many different brands as well is that you get an ROI on your time on this because it helps you to remember and remind yourself who exactly it is that you're targeting. And then you can use that personally to go and refine your ads, refine your emails, refine your website, and get a vision of the person that you're selling to in your head. So go and do that. It is worth your time, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to copy in one of the questionnaires that we got for one of our clients and put it into here. It's for a wine company. And so I'm going to put it in there and then see what ChatGPT comes back with. Okay, so I've put the brand questionnaire into the bot and now it spits out this prompt here, which is what we're going to use to import into the bot. Before we do that, you want to go through this yourself. You want to read it and make sure that this aligns with what your brand is and how you want your brand to sound. Now, I already know that this is perfect, but if I'm going through this myself, I'm looking at things like this one down here, where it said about emotionally, your copy should invoke connection to land and history, the satisfaction of supporting an independent estate, the joy of sharing a meaningful bottle, and the pride of discovering something with depth and authenticity that not everybody knows about. So that's your typical wine. What wine lovers tend to like about buying wine, it's not because the wine tastes good. There's so much more to it than that, and a lot of it is to do with storytelling. So that's perfect for this bot. You want to check that your bot makes sense, because ultimately this is what your bot is going to draw from in order to produce copy for your brand. So make sure that it aligns. So that was step 3 of the bot, as you can see here, refining the brief, make sure it matches the brand, the vocabulary is right, the emotional angles, that nothing sounds off-brand or incorrect. So check all of that and then move on to step 4, which is actually creating the bot inside of ChatGPT. So these are the steps that are involved in how to do that. first you want to go to open ChatGPT, and then you want to click up here to where it says GPTs. Click that drop down and it will come down, and then click this button here to explore. Then in the top right, you can see this create button. So you click that, and then you come to this screen here. So what you want to do is click this button here to configure, and then name your GPT. So I'm going to call this example-GPT. Add a description about what the bot does. You can get ChatGPT to do this for you, or you can write that yourself. It's up to you. I'm going to write it myself just so that you can see what I'm thinking here. So this bot is to produce copywriting angles / assets for brand name, something like that. Very simple description, doesn't need to be too in depth. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to paste in the instructions from what the bot gave you before. So if I full screen this, then this is what the bot came up with. This is based on the initial prompt that I gave, and then the brand questionnaire, and that's what the bot came out with. So you put that into the instruction section. Okay, I tend not to fill out anything else in this section here. I tend to just leave it. Okay, once you click create, then it's going to give you this screen, and it's going to allow you to click this button here to view GPT. So you come through to it, and then here we go. We've got example GPT. And then if I ask it a question, what is your purpose? I sound like that Rick and Morty meme. And then you can see I've asked it the purpose. It says my purpose is to serve. I was thinking about the Rick and Morty thing where it's like the robot that Rick builds, that's purpose is to pass the butter. He's like, oh my God. Rick's like, yeah, welcome to the club. Anyway, this is the point here, the purpose. So the purpose is to serve as the estate's dedicated copywriting voice, elegant, quietly confident, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. So it will tell you what the purpose is there. So that is now good because you can come back to this bot whenever you need to, and it will appear here on your GPTs. And if you don't see it there in your GPTs, then click to explore, and then click this button to go to my GPTs, and then you will see example GPT shows up there, and you click through here to go to it like that. So there you go. Now, if you want to share this bot with your team, then you can. You just click through up to this thing at the top and click edit GPT, and then click this button to share, and it's going to allow you to add people from your workspace. So this is similar to like Google Workspace, for example. You need to have people in your team. You need to have ChatGPT accounts for those people. So then you add them there to your workspace, and then you can give them various different levels of access, like edit access or view access or whatever access, that type of thing. Okay, now I want to show you a bonus thing to add where you can add some conversation starters to your bot. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the initial chat that we had here. Okay, so now we're going to add a bonus conversation starter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this prompt that we've got here and copy it. And then we're going to go through to the original screen where we got the last instructions for the bot. We're going to paste in that other prompt. And then what this is going to do is going to give us some conversation starters to have with the bot. So this is good for giving you ideas of what you can ask the bot, because the world's your oyster at this point. You can ask it anything you like. So it can get a bit overwhelming, basically, where you just don't really know what to ask. So this is how you give yourself some good conversation starters to go with. So we've got these convo starters here, and what we're going to do is just copy them one by one, and then go back to the other screen where you've got the configuration of the bot. And then here where it says conversation starters, we're just going to put those into there. So we've got here, write an email introducing a new limited edition Pinot Noir in the wine company's voice. And then go back and take a look at the ones you've got here. Some of them will be good, some will be bad. And just pick the best ones that you've got. So for example, write this benefit so it feels more heritage focused and terroir driven. I don't know what that word means. You can tell I'm not a wine connoisseur. But it's a good example of how the bot can also help you learn new things as well. Give me subtle premium feeling sales angles for inviting customers to try a new vintage. There we go. That's right up my street. Here you go. Here's a good example again. Turn this casual sentence into something that matches the refined heritage-driven tone of the brand. So we go here. And then as you can see on the left here, on the right, sorry, you can see that these conversation starters are starting to populate here. So if I click update and then go back to the bot itself, now you can see when I open this window and I go to the bot, I've got these conversation starters, which I can just click, and then it's going to instantly come up with those ideas. So again, we don't really use this every time because over time you get diminishing returns. The whole point of it is just to remind you, serve as a good reminder of what is possible. Okay, so wrapping up now then, this is the bot that we've got. We've got example GPT, we've got by Jack Shaw, we've got the description of the bot, we've got a few conversation starters, you can add more. And then what you want to do is just start testing this and see how it goes. Now, I'm going to do another video on this on how to actually refine your copy, because This isn't a finished product. You don't want to just let whatever this bot says and just take it perfectly. The whole point of ChatGPT and whatever, I see it as like a foundational layer, which then needs some human intervention to improve it and to make it a bit better. So this will give you a great start, and it will do most of the heavy lifting for you. And then all you need to do, get your copywriter or yourself to add the little bit of extra flair on top of it that makes it more human and less robotic. When you have both of those things working in tandem, you will get a great result. I don't really recommend using just ChatGPT. I never say this to only use ChatGPT. I always say to use it like use it as your foundation and then improve from there. But for the clients that we've been working with, we've been working with a new client now for the last month and a half. And this is a client who's been through the classic situation where they've had multiple different people managing their Klaviyo account, and just nobody's been able to deliver on the promises that they set. They've not been able to adapt to the tone. And quite frankly, from their experience, the people they've worked with and agencies they've worked with just haven't really cared that much. They haven't been very hardworking and very conscientious to actually achieve the result the client wants. Now, this is a very info-driven niche that we've taken on board. Like an info-heavy niche, and so it's difficult to understand the product. There's so many products, so many different types of situations, and this is also one of the fastest-growing e-commerce businesses in I forget how long, but it's a very fast-growing e-commerce business basically, and these guys are killing it. So they took us on, and naturally, like when we worked with a client for the first time, they were giving us so many copywriting feedback, edits and whatever, more than we usually get. So internally we're saying, right, well, we need to step this up. We need to take advantage of these edits we're getting, put them to the side, and then review them and make sure that any copy any edits that we get, we refine this bot brief with it, and that we also just take note of it for ourselves for what the bot doesn't pick up, because it doesn't pick up everything. Copywriting is super important. Just because ChatGPT is here and it makes it easy to do, doesn't mean that you should be relying on it. So like I say, foundational layer only, improve it with your own flair, with your own human touch. I don't see ChatGPT or any AI being able to beat a human in terms of creativity for a long time, if ever. I really don't see that on the horizon. And this is coming from a guy who owns an AI company. So take with that what you will. Okay, so that's everything for the video. Hopefully that's given you a good insight into how you build these bots and how you use them and what to expect from them as well. If you like this video, hit subscribe. There'll be another video coming soon on how you can refine the content that you produce in this. And like I say, start with that and then improve it with flair. I'll do another video on that soon. So if you want to stick around for that, then do subscribe, do hit like, or drop a comment if you've got any feedback. And one last thing before I go is you want to make sure that you check the description, because that's where you can download the SOP for how to build these bots and the brand questionnaire as well, which is super valuable. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.